The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for joining us here for show number 588. We're right here. I am Bill Knapik, your host. And as always, you could access the show archives or see this show, the video that's made at stewart.com/radio, or simply go to Radio Bill. That is the YouTube channel. Once again, thanks for joining us. And we're going to get started with a fantastic real estate professional. She is back with us. Her name is Sahar Khatib. The company is Keller Williams. Sahar, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill, for having me again. How are you?
Doing great. And let's tell people, Sahar, you've had a fantastic year with Keller Williams.
Absolutely.
Helping buyers and sellers. But first of all, geographically, let's tell people where you do most of your work here, at least in the past year.
It's in the Houston area. I am located in the Sugar Land office, but I do serve everywhere in the Houston area, all the way from Montgomery to Galveston and the west side, all the way to Katy, and then the east side, all the way to Humble. So I do serve within an hour radius from where I live.
And there's just within that hour of the Sugar Land area, there are so many real estate opportunities and so much real estate, period.
Absolutely.
But give us an idea as far as Sugar Land goes. We don't get to talk about Sugar Land a whole lot, but you're right there every day. Let's tell people, if someone were to say, hey, Sahar, what's the market like in Sugar Land? How would you describe it?
I would say if you're a seller and you're trying to sell your home in 2025, most of our homes have been on the market between an average 4 to 6 months. In the new construction areas, you're going to have to worry a little bit about the builders, and they are giving their incentives. So homes are sitting a little bit longer unless you price it strategically, because a buyer, in their eyes, if they're walking to your home, they're going to want a good deal versus going with a builder that's offering them a 4.99 interest rate. So you have to learn how the market is to move faster if you're ready to move from your home.
And we've heard that about other areas of town, too, where the builders have so many incentives, throwing in appliances, lower interest rates, and things like that. So that's something to deal with in certain markets.
Absolutely. I mean, the seller can still give incentive closing costs, but they cannot offer the lower interest rate. That's the biggest driver right there. You know, since I work with both buyers and sellers, the seller can say, hey, you know what, I'll do this for you. I'll give you closing costs. I'll offer you a fridge. I'll offer you all that stuff. But the interest rate, since they are not a company like a builder with their own lenders, they cannot bring that package. And it makes a big difference. In simple language, I say, if you're paying at 6%, 6.5% interest rate, your interest payment, chunk of the payment is going to be, let's say, instead of $3,000, it's going to be $5,000. With the builder, it goes back to $3,000. So you're saving off the bat every month $2,000. That's why the buyers today are going to the builders 90% of the time instead of going to a resale. And that's the struggle all around Houston, not just in Sugar Land.
And it's a good thing to save money, right?
100%. Who doesn't want, especially in today's economy? Everybody is counting the dime, because today you might have it, tomorrow God knows what's going to happen. The uncertainty in the economy itself is causing buyers to make a more sound financial decision.
Well, that sounds good. Let's tell people also, in your own personal real estate journey, how you even got started in real estate, because I think you have a pretty good story.
So, God has his ways. I always say, when I started, it was just an opportunity for me to practice something part-time with my kids' schedule, and I fell in love with the service business, so I went full-time, and I enjoy it today. I never look back. As we discussed off-air, I used to be a software engineer, and that schedule is very tight with 3 kids and a single mom. Lifestyle is going to be rough. So I started real estate. I was like, I'm going to try it and see how it works. And God put me in the right place. I love to serve people. I love to help. And just my passion just came into real estate alive.
And give us an idea, as far as having a background in engineering, does it and or how does it help you in the real estate world? I have an idea myself, but how does that help you?
You know, it's funny that you ask. It's very, there's a high correlation. In real estate, we are always solving problems. And with engineering, if you know anything about engineering, it's problem solving. So any skill set that you learned in that field, you brought it up to life. It's solving different kind of problem. Engineering, the way I did it was software. So I was solving software problems and fixing them. Now I'm helping people problem. And every real estate transaction is different. And the issues that you come along, if you're a good problem solver, you'll take the client through the journey at a minimal stress level that you can.
Would it be safe to say that in real estate and engineering, there's a lot of little details that we have to address in any role in the transaction?
100%. So there is systems in place. If you are a system kind of person, you're not going randomly through the transaction. It makes it easier for people to follow you. And most of the time after we close a deal, especially when I help first-time home buyers, they are overwhelmed when they come into the purchase and they finish and they're like, this was easy, because we made it easy. If you have it not in a systematic way, it becomes an issue with the buyer and they will hate the whole purchase. But because we make it easy, they come back or refer us people, and it's a word of mouth.
And as far as making it easy, that doesn't happen by accident. It's from your experience, knowledge, and also the feel for the transaction. And a lot of times the area, especially if you're helping a buyer not familiar with the given area, whether it's Sugar Land, Katy, or anywhere else.
Yes, especially that my niche is relocations, and most of my clients come from out of town. So they come to the Houston area not knowing where they want to be. And me being here for the past, 21 years I've been in the Houston area. I've lived around different areas, and I tell them, you know what? Give me your lifestyle, give me your goals, and I will help you and guide you. Not that I'm picking the area, but at least I expose them to the areas that are going to meet their lifestyle or goals, to be close to work or kids' schools or stuff like that. And then we narrow it down from there. So, people love when you come and help guide them with one goal in mind, is to make their life easier in this move, during the move.
We're talking with Sahar Khatib with Keller Williams. And Sahar, you have done a fantastic job in your real estate world, achieving a lot of milestones along the way. But if you were to advise someone that might be listening, and a lot of people listen that either just got their license or in school, or even we'll call it youngsters that are inspired sometimes by this show and other shows or TV shows, what advice would you give someone that says, well, Sahar, I'm thinking about being in real estate? What are the qualities, at least 2 or 3, that you have found to be most important to be able to help and serve buyers and sellers all these many years?
Number 1 will be genuine. That's the one thing I find. You have to have a genuine connection with your clients about you really meaning to help, not just close a deal and make money. So when you come and help somebody get through the problem that they're in, solving a problem, which is buying, selling, whatever it is, when you help them genuinely and it's not looking at the paycheck at the end of the day, it shows through the work that you're doing, because your heart and your goal is for that person's best interest. And that is number 1 for me, because money always follows. Money always comes. So create that genuine connection. Number 2 will be communication. Have expectations with your clients, how you want to run your business, and present that to the people and stick with it. Be consistent with it. Number 3 will be negotiation. Learn how to negotiate. This is something that you go out to save people money when you're there buying and to make them money. And that's the value you're going to bring to them. So these are 3 things. Focus on them and you'll do good.
I like the negotiation part, because each one of the items that you mentioned is a skill. Being genuine, hopefully that comes naturally, but the other 2 are skills. And the negotiation is really, I think, very interesting, and not everyone masters the negotiating or even gets close to mastering. It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's experience, but also you have help. There is a lot of classes out there that you can take to help put you on the right path. And then, of course, with experience, you're going to get better at it because you're going to put it into actions. Theory is only theory, but learn it. The one thing I found about real estate, it takes you, like 8 classes to, get into real estate. Really, it doesn't prepare you to do the business. So you kind of are learning as you go when you do transactions. So as much as you equip yourself, we're in Texas, other than what Texas requires you to do the classes, take negotiation classes, take psychology of negotiation, do all that. So when you get there, you kind of hit the ground running.
2025 was an interesting year for a lot of real estate agents. Some say, hey, it was my best year. Looking back, how was your 2025? How would you tell people?
2025 has been a challenging year. I think not transaction-wise, we did well. It's more of the uncertainty that people are going through this year, from economy to politics to everything that's going on in the world and on the news, had made people very reluctant to pull the trigger on their moves, So I would say that's the only challenge that has been apparent. You will work, if you do a good job, you will work in any year. There's always people moving. There's always people buying. It's just the reluctancy and the hesitation in people's mind if they're doing the right decision. And we can't guide them. Like, you can't come to tell somebody if they're thinking next year the house price is going to go down. Me and you, we don't know.
Don't know.
We can't tell them, no, they're not going to go down. Listen to the news. Do we have a crash? We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. So you have to guide them and bring them back to their goal. Do you really need a house? Do you need to upgrade? Do you need to move? And that's where the answer comes from. Block the news and then focus on the goal. If it's the right time for you, there's always going to be a place. I think just, it's the holidays. I wish everybody that, take this time to reflect and think of 2026. It's going to be the best year ever. However it comes, it's going to always be the best year because we're always learning to be better.
Sahar, let's tell people how they can reach you.
My phone number is 832-630-5020, or you can email me at saharkatib@kw.com, my full name @kw.com. My phone number is 832-630-5020.
Sahar, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me again, Bill. Happy holidays.
As we continue, let's talk to Anthony Pham. His company is Stacy & Co. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me out here today.
It's good to see you, Anthony. Let's tell people about the company that you are a part of. It's called Stacy & Co.
Yes, correct. I'm an agent for Stacy & Co. We're a small brokerage. We currently operate in the Sugar Land and Missouri City area, but we go all around Houston. I recently moved up to Spring, so I started my business up there.
And let's give people an idea as far as the market. Now, when you say Spring, let's tell people, especially those that are not in the Houston area, let's tell people about Spring.
Yep. So the main reason why I moved up to Spring is because there's a lot of new developments up there. There's been a lot of different universities that have been being built, a lot of centers for retail. And there's not really that much new real estate in the Houston area, well, meaning like Sugar Land or the Missouri City. Mostly that is just resale. So most of the people that are looking for a newer build, they're moving up to Spring.
And when we look back, again, 2025, interesting year for all of us. How was your 2025? How would you describe it?
Honestly, it was challenging. It was really hard to adapt with the times because right now with social media, there's just a lot of people asking so many different questions, and that's one of the main reasons why I use social media is to kind of educate first-time home buyers on different tips and also the headspace in buying a house.
And when we think about social media, there's so many different ways to use it and different platforms. What are the platforms that you like to use or get the most results?
So I am really active on Instagram, but with Instagram, you can cross-post on Facebook. So those are the two social media platforms I'm the most active on.
And when you post on, say, Instagram, what are the things that you find bring you the results? What are you posting on there?
Well, it's for Instagram and Facebook. I usually do short form content, or I do walkthroughs of the new builds that I was talking about in Spring, Texas. And it's just about giving first time home buyers more exposure on what's really out there compared to the resale market, and tips and tricks on the mindset and how to attack it. Because most of my clientele is those that are renting and they're transitioning into their first home. So they might not know anything about PMI. They might not know much about what a down payment is or the types of programs out there that are available.
So it sounds like you're helping a lot of the first-time buyers. And in doing so, how do they find you, or how do you find them to be able to help them with this very important purchase?
Sure. So I target a lot of my content to, a certain demographic. I niche down. So most of the people I work with are kind of like fresh out of college, or they're young professionals. I go out to universities or, community events, table there and talk about real estate and answer any questions, kind of like facilitating open dialogue between, me and the public.
Sounds pretty good. That's the first time we've heard that. So you actually go to the universities, let people know who you are, and promote your business, but also at the same time, you're helping them with a potential real estate transaction.
Correct. Yes.
There you go. Do you have a patent on that, Anthony?
No,
it could be
not at all. Not at all.
I think I might be working on that. We're talking with Anthony Pham. He is with Stacy & Co. And like right now, Anthony, are you helping more buyers or more sellers?
As of right now, I'm helping more buyers. My sellers, they are kind of, pulling out of the market right now. Recently, HER released their like an overview of the activity for the past week. And it seems that a lot of sellers are pulling out the market as well, but there is still, a lot of open houses going on. So, even though the market is slowing down, people are pulling out of the market. I'd say that buyers do have more of a choice now because there's just so much inventory.
And when you're helping buyers, you mentioned the first-time buyers, of course, but also outside of first-time buyers, you're helping other people around along the way?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Yeah.
And how often are you helping people that might be, say, out of the state or out of the city?
Quite frequently, actually. Since the overall cost of living is a lot lower, a lot of people from New York, North Carolina, California, I've seen have been moving here, and I've been helping them relocate into a lease. And then they're trying to see how the market is going to be in the early 2026 and go from there.
And both New York and California are relatively far on different ends of the country. What do you find, if any, common denominator as far as reasons why they might be coming here from those faraway places?
Honestly, it's just the overall cost of living. Gas is definitely a lot cheaper here. I think right now it's $2.03 per gallon. Over in California, it's like near 5 or 6 or even more. And it's the overall value of the market. The median home price or average home price for a single family home is around $450,000 in most areas right now. So for that same build in, say New York and California, it could be double the price. So
at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also as far as how do they find you that far away? And both of them, again, New York, kind of far, and California, and also both completely different types of markets. How do they find you?
Mostly from my social media videos. Like I said, I do a lot of walkthroughs of the new builds that are available, and the price of them is very enticing. So they just reach out to me, or if they're a first-time home buyer or transitioning, I do a lot of educational videos about the home buying process and the mindset to buy a home, and that's how they find me and reach out.
You've got some good marketing skills, it sounds like, that are paying off.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. It's mostly Instagram and Facebook, but I will start transitioning over to YouTube soon. As of right now, I'm more focused on the short form content because, nowadays people's attention spans are really short. So, I kind of, bank off that or market off of that. Yeah. With, real estate, I think that people are more inclined to watch a short 30-second video rather than just sit down and watch a 30-minute video. Nowadays people don't have the attention span, And also, they just don't have the time to do those things anymore from what I've seen.
Other than this type of marketing with social media, what about the open house? Do you find the open house is a good way to promote what you're doing?
It is. So I do open houses here and there, but I think it really depends on the area. I mean, some areas are more hot than others. Recently, I did an open house in the Memorial area, and that specific area was really, really popular, and that neighborhood had a lot of inventory on the market. But, I also have a listing all the way out in Emberley, Texas. Not really a lot of people know about that. But that area, it's pretty slow. So having an open house out there wouldn't really be, good.
And as you say, Emberley?
Yeah, Emberley.
Where is that?
Oh, it's like an hour past Rosenberg, Texas. So way out there as well. So,
well, that's one of the unique things, I guess. Like Houston, there still are areas where there's
Yes.
some wide open spaces.
Correct. There's always a place to live if you want to find a place.
And Anthony, at the very beginning, when you started real estate, what was the thing that attracted you to even be in real estate?
Honestly, it was the people aspect. So I, grew up. I recently was a operations manager for a nonprofit here in Houston, and I've kind of had that service aspect to my life volunteering. And my family was in real estate. That's kind of like the start of everything. I was just interested, reached out, and here I am. I'm not with my family anymore. I'm with Stacy & Co., but that was pretty much the jump start of my career.
And here we are. We're the last couple of weeks of the year. And as you plan for have planned for 2026, what are some of the things? Is there anything you're focusing on specifically for the new year?
I'm focusing more on in-person outreach, because I think that, a lot of people are chronically online, and I already do information videos like that, but I kind of miss that in-person aspect. So I plan to go out to a lot of universities, also community events, and table there and just, facilitate that open dialogue, like I said, because there's a lot of people that have questions, and I think as real estate professionals, we have to be beacons of knowledge and meet people where they are.
And Anthony, when you're not doing your real estate work, helping buyers and sellers, what do you do in your free time for fun? If you have any free time, that is.
I'm currently working on a '89 Corvette, recently converted into a carburetor. I like working on cars. I do volunteering work. That's pretty much what I do in my free time, if I have free time.
An '89 Corvette?
Yes, sir.
Man, the Corvettes are such classic cars.
Mm-hmm. Heartbeat of America.
With each and every year. I can't picture the '89. But Anthony, before we close the segment, what else you want people to know?
What I want people to know is, if you have any questions at all, there are no stupid questions. Reach out to your local real estate agent and find as much information as you can. The more you build yourself up in, the mindset of buying a house, the more information you take in, the more confident you will be.
And reach out to Anthony Pham?
Yes, sir.
Anthony, how can people reach you?
So my phone number is 713-409-2316, and my Instagram and Facebook handle is anthony.realtortx. 713-409-2316.
Anthony, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, as we move along, we have two guys here on the show that are friends, but they are also friends of KPRC. They just joined the team with Real Estate Radio, providing information on Saturdays from 8 till 9 a.m. They have a show called The Real Estate Rat Pack, and it is two guys, Chris Kelso with a company called Rate. He is a mortgage expert. In addition, Rob Cook, he's known as the godfather of real estate. In addition, he's just all over the real estate world, also a tremendous educator. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having us back on.
Thank you very much, Bill. Look forward to it as always.
Well, here we are. So we've already told people about your show that they can hear every Saturday morning, which is great. I've already heard the first two editions, 8 a.m. to 9. You're bringing information. You're bringing great guests. You will be bringing a lot of great guests here the coming year and the coming shows. So first of all, Rob, let's tell people what you're doing, and then a little bit about the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Well, what I do, I primarily do CE classes, which is continuing education. And
we all need that.
Everybody, you can't have enough education, because if everybody can remember, your life changed on August 17th of 2024 when we started changing all our contracts, and we've had to relearn it. They're changing again. So
and you're out there. We talk about CE classes. So many people do them. In fact, in this room, a lot of educators are in the room.
They don't have a choice if they want to keep practicing real estate.
That's right. It's a necessary thing. But you're doing that all over for different organizations like Stewart Title.
I do a lot for Stewart, yes.
And everybody else. I was talking, Chris, I was talking to Rob before you got here, and I called him. I said, I wonder when Rob's going to be here. I was thinking I was talking to you, so I came up with the term, two Robs don't make a right.
That is correct. I would
that?
Absolutely agree with you, by the way.
I figured you'd like that.
Rob's the one who actually keeps me on track a lot of times. So to be honest with you, he's like, hey, don't forget, you're supposed to be here at the radio show.
He was
and I'm
falling
like,
short
when?
today, though.
Yeah, and he was like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, but you're in the mortgage world, Chris, as
Yes.
well as being part of the real estate Rat Pack. But in the mortgage world, people are always so rate conscious. In fact, it seems sometimes the idea of what's the rate? What's the rate going to be? This guy's going to talk about lowering the rate. It seems like that almost overshadows the whole darn thing.
Well, it does, unfortunately. I would say this is we ruined our own market in 2020 and 21 and parts of 22 when the rates went down to 2.5%, 3%, right? We had this massive acceleration. We had rates that went down artificially low. And the government, unfortunately, took way too long to get us out of that. And that was all because of the mortgage-backed securities market. The reality is individuals don't buy a home because of rates. They buy a home because of lifestyle changes. They're moving up. They're moving down. They're empty nesters. They're young. They're buying investment properties. They're buying properties they're going to live in the future. Universities, whatever it might be right there. So the reality is that lifestyle still is what is driving forward the purchase and the acquisition of real estate in today's market. Now, there's going to be plenty of refinance opportunities because rates are going to be coming down over 2026 and beyond. But the reality is that we're still in the strongest market in the United States. I think you and I talk about this, Rob. If I'm not mistaken, Houston does more business than 38 states combined.
33 states. That's Jim Gaines of the Texas Real Estate Center.
33 states combined. And Houston still this year is going to end up a little under $50 billion worth of real estate transactions. So if you're not doing business here in Houston, and if you're an agent or you are a loan officer, Rob and I talk about this all the time, look to your left, look to your right, that's who's taking your business, right? Rates are not a defining factor at the end of the day, and rates are still very good. I've been quoting rates all this year in the 5s, and I just got off the phone with an individual who is moving over to our company, who originates with a different company, because we are also one of the most aggressive companies when it comes to rate. Affordability has a lot of different factors to it, right? One of them's rate, one of them's the price of the home, one of them's taxes and insurance, and all those factors have been impacted over the past couple of years. Insurance, for example, right now, unfortunately, is a big factor individuals have to look at, but it's a combination of factors. What's your rate at? What's your acquisition? And at the end of the day, it's still going to be better to own a home over the lifetime of that span than it is to rent. I can always tell you that. And the reason why is at the end of 30 years when I'm renting, I still have to rent then for the next 10 years after that. At the end of 30 years on a 30-year fixed mortgage, if I bought my home, I have a home that's paid free and clear. And guess what I also have? I've got a lot of availability to be able to have equity into a property that I can then use to pass down to future generations. So the reality is home ownership is still what it is. And we're in a great market right now to be able to acquire it.
The company name that you work with is called Rate. Easy to remember. How can people forget
tell them
that?
why it's just called Rate.
That is correct. So we were known as Guaranteed Rate for 25 years. And at the beginning of this year, we moved our name to Rate. Now, our email has always been rate.com. The big reason why we moved it, believe it or not, after 25 years, we realized that individuals couldn't spell guaranteed. We had guaranteed registered in like 50,000 different ways, right? And so we figured it was, number one, let's go ahead and keep the simplicity of rate around. But number two is, from a marketing perspective, it's a lot easier just to say rate than it is to say guaranteed rate. And the other side of things is that we tell everybody what we do is in our name. We guarantee to provide a great rate for anybody who's looking at refinancing, buying an investment property. We have every product, every service. But more importantly is it's the creating of a raving fan that we do every single day.
Most people can spell rate.
Right. Everyone can, hopefully. And
hopefully.
And I actually did a funny chat GPT thing the other day. I asked them to make me a song, and I used the word rate because, Spanish is my first language, and it said rate. And I was like, oh, my God, that's hilarious. So he even spelled rate correctly, but they pronounced it differently.
Well, Rob, what are some of the things? Here you are, you already had 2 at the time of this airing of this show. You'll have 3 Real Estate Rat Pack shows on KPRC under your belt. And I know you spend a lot of time envisioning, what am I going to do? You're starting fresh again with the show, so you're going to try some new things out. What are some of the things you're thinking about for the show?
We want to talk about topical things. We have probably a lot of politicians on our past show. Politics and real estate go hand in hand, and we have a great saying for the TREPAC group, which is Texas Real Estate Political Action Committee. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so we, through the 89th legislature, we had a lot of good things come out of that. If you went and voted in November, you know that we voted in $140,000 for homestead exemption and $200,000 for seniors. So that's the kind of stuff that we want to talk about. And things that trends are going on right now. We have a little downturn this month. It's a slight downturn, but we had a little uptick in prices. It's about 0.8%. And so we're going to be talking a lot about stats, what's it take, and we always say, you know, hire people like Sahar and Anthony because they know their local markets. It's not just Houston's a local market, but we actually work in micro markets. Because
that's right. There are so many different little nuances and little pockets.
What's happening in
so
Spring and the Woodlands is not what's happening in Sugar Land. What's happening in Sugar Land is not what's happening out in Katy. So you got to know, you got to be with someone. And by the way, listen to your realtor. And I know Fred down the street sold their house, and they told you they sold it for about $10,000 more than they actually could get. But price it right. And right now it's going to have to be priced right.
Stick to the facts, right? Because there's a lot of hearsay out there, Rob.
Listen to your professional. That's I can't impress that enough. And I train probably about 10 to 12,000 students a year, and the one thing I want them to be is more professional. And of course, we're on a Be Kind tour, and so with professional, be kind.
Be kind.
You can't believe what a difference it makes, and sometimes it's a nerve-wracking industry.
It can be.
It can be. Yeah. And so a lot of times I see people get a little heated in the transaction negotiations, and it doesn't serve our clients to do that. Just, be professional, be kind, know your markets. And we're at a 5-month supply of homes for all of Houston. That's a balanced market.
It's a good market.
It's a good market. And I just read the article that 250,000 people moved from California to Texas. So they're losing population. We're gaining population.
We're talking with Rob Cook and Chris Kelso. Together they are the Real Estate Rat Pack. Individually, they're individuals. Chris, tell us some more about looking ahead and also the kinds of loans. Because when we talk to mortgage people here on the show, it seems like some are focusing on this little nuance of a type of loan. Give us an idea of your menu of the loans.
Well, Rate is the largest retail lender in the nation. So when it comes to a menu of loans, there's
how do you spell Rate, by the way?
RATE.
Okay,
Very good.
Okay.
It is. We have probably every loan possible. I mean, if you're self-employed, need to do a bank statement loan, we have it. If you're a foreign national, you need to do an ITN loan, we have it. All written in-house, by the way. If you're a 1099 employee, we have it. Traditional stuff as well, FHA and VA and conventional. If you need some commercial lending, we do commercial lending. If you have a fix and flip, we have commercial. We have fix and flip. If you have a renovation loan, we do renovation lending and construction lending for new homes. So there's really nothing that we don't have. What I would say is the reality of what we've done, which I think is really cool, is, for example, when a reverse mortgage client comes in, I know reverse mortgage very well, but I have a whole group that's focused in on reverse mortgage, so I will actually have my reverse mortgage team handle that. So the one thing that we do also is when you come to an individual who works at our group, we're going to put you with the right professional based on the right program. Now, most of the time our loan officers are very well versed in all programs, but the great thing is we have some specializations even within there. So you can come to me and say, hey, Chris, I want to do a reverse mortgage or I'm going to do a construction loan. I'm going to probably pass that off to one of my teammates who does it better than I do. And the only reason why I do that is I'm a big believer, Rob and I talk about this all the time, is competency, right? We train everybody about competency. And so one of the things that we do, we practice it as well. Where am I really good at? Like my favorite loan in the world is a VA loan. There's nothing better than VA lending. Period, end of story. Our veterans, by the way, for everybody out there, thank you very much for serving. We wouldn't be able to do this radio show if it wasn't for our veterans. But I love VA lending. I love FHA lending. I love down payment assistance, TSHAC and TDHCA and Seth. And so there's really nothing that we don't have. But I also know that the areas that I really like to focus in on, my jumbo side of things, for example, my doctor's loans are incredible. And so there's so many products out there. I know them all. That's why they call me the Maestro Mortgage. But more importantly, I try to focus in on the ones that I know I can really be impactful in the market.
And that's one of the other things. In addition to the great things your company is providing in the tools, your experience is far and wide. So you're able to help people, I think, in an extra special way. Rob, let's tell people if they want to reach you, what should they do?
They can reach me at 281-543-0527. Once again, 281-543-0527.
And Chris, how can people reach you?
You can reach me anytime at 713-256-9138. Again, that's 256-9138. Or you can go out to my website. You can go to rate.com/Chris Kelso altogether. It has my application out there, it has my digital business card, and all the products and services that we offer.
And, of course, people can tune in to the Real Estate Rat Pack every Saturday at 8 a.m. What a great drive time that is right here on AM 950 KPRC.
That is correct. Every Saturday morning. And if you have someone you want to be on the show and you want to talk about something, we also have done this in the past. We invite all of our listeners, hey, give us a call. We answer our phone all the time. If there's something you want to talk about on the air that you're very, very interested in, or more importantly, passionate about, we talk about this. We've found some great stuff that we've done, Rob, in the past. In regards to raising funds, for example, for the DePelchin's Children's Center. We got a listener one time who donated $1,000 because he wanted to do something very nice for the children. So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to be on one of these radio shows, give us a call. You know, we definitely want to be able to promote you.
The number again is
713-256-9138.
Two Robs don't make a right.
That is correct.
Something like that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
Bill.
you.
Appreciate it.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with Stewart Insurance, John Bramlett. Once again, John.
Howdy, Bill.
Here we are. Rolling right along, finishing out the year and looking ahead.
Yes, it's going to be exciting 2026, and it's been a great 2025 on Real Estate Matters.
You know, all the things as I think about the professional aspects of what we do, hopefully touching lives. I got to tell you, I'm thinking about Featherfest, too, in April. I want to do the bird watching event for the first time in my life.
It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it. I'd like to talk a little bit about concerns that folks have, because there are concerns about personal insurance, and it's more than just cost. So there are 6 that are out there that we see on a consistent basis, and there may be some things that can be done to minimize those concerns or offset those concerns. So a lot of times the main one that we'll come across, if you really get a feel for what's bothering people, is this idea of what am I actually got covered. That nobody has really explained to me what my coverage is, because policies can be complex, and the language can be difficult to understand. And you're going to have exclusions in a policy. You're going to have sublimits in the policy. There's going to be conditions in the policy. And if you truly don't have somebody to explain those, that can be, a challenge that, we're making decisions many times based on price and not coverage. So at least we don't understand what that clarity is. So that can be, a concern. And then does the policy keep up with my life? We've talked a lot today about, life changes, and that drives real estate. In many cases, it also drives insurance. So what are some of the life changes? So that's the first one that we really do come across, is this idea of what do I actually have covered? The second one is affordability, that there's a feeling that the coverage is more expensive, but there's not the value there. So, not understanding how inflation comes into the establishment of a premium, not understanding how the rebuild cost or the cost to replace comes into play. The fact that we've had carrier pullbacks, we've had carriers, insurance companies that move into the market and move out of the market. And it's not just the greater Houston area, but all over the U.S. And working with somebody that can explain what that means and how that can affect, the affordability. There's some uncertainty around claims. So how does that process work? I know I'm going to get delayed, or I know that the insurance companies are going to they're going to push it out as long as they can, or they're going to say no. And it's really just, walking through or getting through those stories that you might hear, and then let's understand how a claim comes about. Let's understand what those triggers are where coverage would come into play, and then have somebody that can guide you along the way. So, that idea of a claim and it not being processed is a concern. And in many cases, that's a misnomer, but it's a matter of understanding how you need to follow that process in order to file a claim. We talked a little bit earlier about keeping up with the life changes. We add a driver, we take a driver away, we have a teen driver, we have a new vehicle, we add on to our home. They're all different types of life changes, and that's going to drive the type of coverage that we need to have or need to adapt to. We talked earlier about downsizing. Anthony mentioned that. So, if we have to downsize, again, that's going to be a change in what type of coverage you'd want to take a look at. Kind of all this together, number 5 is trust and transparency. Do I trust the company that I'm working with? Do I have comfort with the advisor that I'm working with? Have they truly given me a policy, built me a policy, or built me a plan, or are they just selling me a policy? Have they taken the time to understand what my risk concerns are? Am I risk averse? Am I more interested in maybe self-insuring? But really taking the time to understand that can truly make a difference. And then you truly are transparent about this is what you do have covered and what you don't have covered. And, Bill, we talk about it all the time, but that in a sense is properly insured. That if somebody is aware of what they do and don't have from a coverage perspective and they're comfortable with that at this point in their life or the business's point in its business life, then somebody is properly insured. And then I guess the last thing would be just kind of what if scenarios. So having somebody there to help you out. What if this does happen? What if my house does flood? What if I do need to use my flood insurance? What if I do have a water main break? What if somebody hits my car that's uninsured? Having somebody that can walk you through those considerations are critical. So those are kind of the 6 areas that we see what's happening. And I think there's some things, if you're looking for an insurance advisor and you want to avoid those 6 areas of concern, or maybe minimize the chance that those are a problem for you, there's some things you need to look for in an advisor. So somebody that takes that language of a policy and puts it in English so that you understand what a sublimit is, you understand what the conditions are, you understand what depreciation means. Having somebody that can show you the pros and cons of, so if you have a higher premium, what does that mean? If you have a lower deductibles, what does that mean? Is it a replacement cost versus actual cash value? Being able to define those in understandable terms, and then what does that mean from a coverage perspective, is critical. Are you working with somebody that's willing to shop policies? So you've got somebody that has the opportunity to look at a variety of insurance companies to make a decision versus simply saying, this is what I got to order, let me sell you a policy, and I'm going to move on to the next person. Truly having somebody that says, based upon what your needs are, Bill, we're going to look at several different companies and come back with a recommendation that best meets your needs, right now. Somebody that's your advocate, both, before a claim and during the claim process is always critical. Somebody that's willing to spend some time with you on a regular basis. What's going on? What's changed? You mentioned early on this year, Bill, that you were thinking about buying another home. So have you done so? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about coverage. Oh, you're ready to buy that 3rd car. Let's talk about that. Your kid's ready to start driving. Let's talk about that. So having somebody have that discussion on a regular basis can truly make a difference. And then really the bottom line is educating on not just what you've bought, but why you've bought it, why it's important, why you need to consider it.
One of the beauties of Stewart Insurance is a human answers the phone, and it's hard to find that these days, and often maddening when you're trying to reach someone or make an appointment or find out information, and you have to go through all the barriers. The beauty is at Stewart Insurance, an actual human being is happy to hear from you, and they answer the phone. That's awesome, John. And it's a little thing, but it's a big thing in this day and age.
Well, it is. I mean, our president, Tom Carpentier, is with us here today. And Tom always says as long as he's running the company, we'll have somebody answering the phone. And it does make a difference. And Amber, who answers the phone for us, if it's 2 rings, that's slow for her. I mean, she is really quick. We get you connected with the advisor or the service person you need as quickly as possible. If they're busy helping another client, they'll be responding again later that day. So that responsiveness is critical. I was at a conference from the Texas Mortgage Bankers Association in October in Austin. And one of the speakers talked about how significant his home insurance increased. So I was reaching out to him to see how I could help him out. I literally spent 15 minutes on 2 phone calls trying to reach his company, and all I could get was one service person, and they didn't even, he's the chairman of the company, and they didn't know his name. Well, if you would like to be properly insured, if you would like to be able to, work with somebody so some of these mysteries, these concerns that we all have when it comes to personal insurance, work with somebody that can demystify it, that can define it for you in a way that's understandable so that you truly understand what you do and don't have and what those ramifications could be, then, I would hope you'd give Stewart Insurance an opportunity. You can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
Helping people all over the United States simply by calling
866-798-2827.
And I understand, John, 2026 is the year of being properly insured. I set forth the decree right now.
Thank you. Speak that into existence. I appreciate that, Bill.
John, thanks for being with us.
Always a pleasure.
Kevin Davidson doing tremendous work in Sugar Land, Texas, and Fort Bend. That's awesome. Well, Kevin, let's tell people about your two offices, because the escrow officers there and yourself, you're doing tremendous work helping the real estate community in a tremendous way.
Yeah, so I represent the Stewart Title Sugar Land office and the Richmond office. And between the two offices, I have 5 escrow officers with over 100 years combined experience in title. And one of the escrow officers in the Sugar Land office speaks 4 languages: English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. So
it's a lot.
She can pretty much talk to you in any language.
I can be silent in 7 languages.
You know what? I'm still trying to perfect that one myself.
I'm trying to perfect English. There's no doubt about it. Well, Kevin, you always have a lot of things. I know you're a planner as well. As far as things coming up in 2026, I bet your schedule is already
my first quarter is already filled out with classes that I teach and events. Just one that's coming up real early in the year is January 8th. We're doing a appreciation of our clients' barbecue. Stewart Title has its own rolling mobile barbecue pit, and Max is bringing it to the Richmond office on January 8th from 11 to 2. So
I'll be at that one.
If you're in the Sugar Land area and you're a client of mine or want to be, come on by. We'll feed you for free.
Kevin, let's tell people how they can reach you.
832-654-0527. Again, that's 832-654-0527.
Kevin Davidson. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
And now Sahar Khatib is back with a final word. Sahar, welcome back.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, here you are again, Keller Williams, Sahar Khatib, doing tremendous work out there. What would you like people to know before we close the show?
I think before the show, we touched a little bit about it. If you are ready to make the move in the 2026, ignore all the noise around you and think about why are you moving, and don't look at anything that people are talking about. There is always going to be interest rates fluctuating, prices going up and down. But if you're ready to move, there's always going to be a home for you on the long run. It's going to be a best investment you'll do.
And that's right. That's a good point, because there is noise, and sometimes it's hard to discern what's the right thing to listen to and to soak in, and then some of it, like you said, it's just noise.
Yeah, it's just noise. Focus on your goals and ignore all the noise, and find somebody that can help you. There's always good professionals out there. I'm not the only one, but there's a connection that you can develop with somebody. If you trust that person, he's going to do a good job for you.
What would you do, Sahar? Here you are. You're a licensed realtor in Texas.
Absolutely.
But let's say you wanted to buy a home in, I don't know, just pick a state, Indiana, and you don't have a license there, but knowing what you know, looking for that real estate agent in another state, what would be the top 2 things you want to make sure that they have to serve you, a realtor?
100%. So I don't know if we talked about this in the past. My niche is referrals. So I'm connected with about 3,000 agents all across the U.S. and Canada and Mexico. So if you're looking for an agent in another state, either connect with somebody that has connections or find somebody that you can read reviews from clients and see their previous work, and do they match what you want to do? Like if they focus on investments, on first-time home buyers, veterans, wherever they are, and interview a couple of them and see who you're gonna develop a trust and a connection with. So you can reach me at 832-630-5020. So my phone number is 832-630-5020.
Anthony Pham with Stacy & Co. Well, Anthony, here we are closing the show down. what else do you want people to know about what you're doing and how you can help them?
Last thing I want to say is it's not really about me, but more so about the mindset. Regardless if you feel ready or not, it's never too early to find more information about the market, as well as buying, selling, or transitioning over. I think Chris Kelso said something that, I guess we can all echo here. Like, it doesn't really matter what the rate is. It doesn't really matter what the market condition is. If you feel like you're ready, or if you're trying to find information, just go ahead and do it. Reach out to your local professionals. There's plenty of us. Find client reviews. Do your own due diligence, and work with people that you're comfortable with.
And as we talked earlier, those that were listening, they heard about one of your marketing techniques, going to universities. When you do so, Anthony, how do you choose which university to go to? Is it just in Houston, or do you go outside of the Houston area? How do you determine that? Is there a method?
Yeah, so I actually have connections. So I'm a board member of the Asian American Real Estate Association, and I used to be operations manager for the Vietnamese Culture and Science Association. And through those organizations, I was able to work with Asian organizations at Rice University, University of Houston, and beyond. So it was just me finding connections through those avenues, and then after that, just branching out.
Sounds good to me. Anthony, let's tell people how they can reach you. Anthony Pham.
Sure. My phone number is 713-409-2316. Again, 713-409-2316. And my Instagram and Facebook handle is anthony.realtortx.
Chris Kelso and Rob Cook, known as the Real Estate Rat Pack. Gentlemen, as we close the show, you have a final word there, Rob?
Final word is I agree with Anthony. Get out there and look. It's just
be kind.
Always a good time, and be kind, of course. But I was interviewed by a local affiliate. The one quote, if I could have chosen the quote, they used it on the air, which was, a market moving up or a market moving down, there's always opportunity.
There always is. In fact, there's always opportunity in life, no matter what's going on. And Chris, what about you?
I tell everybody I like the old Ford quote, which says, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so that's always been one of my favorites. I would say, and Anthony and Sahar talked about this as well, just be engaged, be informed in the market, be engaged in the market. Don't listen to what somebody can tell you can or cannot do. I think you were talking about it very much so. Knock out the noise. There's a lot of national news out there. It's all wrong. I hate to say it. It's all wrong.
By the way, turn off the national news.
Yes, turn off the national news. And engage with local resources that can truly help impact your life.
Chris, your phone number is?
713-256-9138. Again, that's 713-256-9138.
And the company is Rate. If someone needs a loan, they need information about a loan of any sort, they could call you.
That is correct. You can give me a call, or you can go to rate.com/Chris Kelso.
Rob, how can people reach you?
281-543-0527. Again, 281-543-0527.
And of course, they can see you and listen to you on the Real Estate Rat Pack here on KPRC, AM 950, KPRC, every Saturday at 8 to 9 a.m. That's a.m. Check out the show. They're there. In fact, you had me on as a guest the other week. It was your premiere edition.
The premiere edition, which they can go back on and look at on the podcast. That is correct.
It's so awesome. So thank you, gentlemen. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Together with John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, Kevin Davidson, all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance, we appreciate you listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next edition. Tune in right here every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. Go to stewart.com/radio, or simply go to the YouTube channel, which is known as Radio Bill. Easy to spell, B-I-L-L. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Gracias por oír a Real Estate Matters con Bill Knapik o Stewart Title.